Well, I'm glad the director of photography got a paycheck, because this is not the horror movie I wanted to talk about this weekend. Review for that coming early next week. Insidious Out of the Further was directed by Jacob Chase, and it follows this woman who is somehow not related to Naomi Watts, whose past trauma involving the supernatural has come back to haunt her and her daughter, and now she finds herself wrapped up in this plot from the demonic beings of the Further, who are trying to find a way into our real world, so now she has to stop them. I've only seen the first Insidious film before this, and I know a lot of people really like that movie. I don't. I think it's kind of bad. It has some creative concepts for sure, and I think that some of the silliness is a bit fun. I had no issues understanding Insidious Out of the Further despite having not seen the previous 4 movies, because yeah, this is your pretty standard Blumhouse horror fare, and to be completely honest, there's nothing really that noteworthy about this movie whatsoever. It's kind of gonna be hard to review this. Performances are fine. They're all pretty good. I'd say the cinematography is surprisingly nice to look at in this movie, not that it really has any personality. There was one bedroom scene that actually had really cool lighting that I thought looked really nice. But truth be told, that doesn't really elevate this material that much. None of this movie feels all that inspired on any level. I feel like the plot itself is just a bit of a stretch trying to make yet another Insidious movie. I mean, come on, this is the 6th fucking movie. This time the demons are trying to come into our world. Ooh. There was one mystic tattoo artist character that I thought was really cool. She was kind of hot. Someone I would totally be friends with, but other than that, these characters all suck. I find the protagonist extremely uninteresting in this movie. A character having a dead spooky mom and a daughter she has to take care of is not enough to make me like her, and beyond that, she has no personality. She's just generic white woman who's dating a cop. Ew. As for this movie's positives, there are a couple of fun gross out scenes, and there's one sequence involving the main girl getting trapped in this further version of her daughter's fort that I thought was really interesting, and it had the only cool scare in the movie in my opinion, until it was deflated a second later by a generic jump scare. And there's a big asterisk to the scene in that I feel like it was just done a lot better in the back rooms. In fact, a lot of this movie conceptually feels extremely similar to the back rooms. The way the Further is just sort of a dark, distorted version of our world, and I know that that concept's been done before and that's not exactly what the back rooms was doing. But yeah, tell me that fort scene was not very backrooms inspired. And I know that the Backrooms movie just came out like a few months ago. I have this feeling that either after the success of that movie, there were some reshoots, or they knew a Backrooms movie was coming out and it was tracking to do decently, so they just took inspiration from the web shorts to do some of these concepts and scenes in this movie. I could be totally wrong on that. I know movies take a while to make, especially big productions like this. It was just a thought I had that was distracting me throughout. Yeah, I don't think I have any other positives of this movie. Really terrible, generic horror movie score that is just doing all the same string sound effects you've heard a million times over, and it just makes every sequence less scary. If this movie really just allowed the ambiance to settle with you and really just had kind of a more subtle score, there may have been some parts that could have succeeded at being at least creepy, but no, I didn't feel anything during the horror scenes in this movie. I feel like having a child main character in a horror movie is usually just a giant scam, especially with something like this that's just trying to be so mainstream appealing that you know she's never in any real danger. They're not gonna fucking kill the kid. I'd say the first 3/4 of this movie I definitely didn't like, but I was like, okay, well at least it's shot decently, and there were a couple decent scenes, but honestly, the third act is the weakest part of this movie, which is always a bad thing to say. It just went on for so long and I was so bored. So in the end, yeah, this movie was a waste of fucking time for me. Completely generic, forgettable. Please skip it. Don't give this your money. I'm gonna give Insidious Out of the Further a 3 out of 10. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a good one.